everybody? Welcome to Capital of Combat. Name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Roger L.
And today we got a pretty packed fight weekend to cover for you guys. We've got on Fox Sports in the US and I think on Sky over in overseas. We got Hassan N'Dam versus David Lemieux in a middleweight title fight. We've got Adrian Broner and Sean Porter in the Battle of Ohio out in Las Vegas at a catchweight. And then we've got Paul Smith taking on Andre Ward also at a catchweight. In those two fights, we're dealing with guys who are in between divisions, and you know they want to fight these guys, so they came up with a catchweight.
Of course.
Whatever. We're gonna start with the N'Dam Lemieux fight, and then we'll move on to Porter Broner, then Ward Smith. Take it away, Rob.
All right, so this is a very interesting fight because these are two guys who have had their setbacks. Two vastly contrasting styles, and it's looking to make a name and step up to that A level. David Lemieux has had his setbacks versus Rubio and I can't remember the other guy.
I think that might be it.
No, he lost the second fight. But he got knocked out by Rubio and he lost the 12-round decision to
Alcine?
Yes, Joaquin Alcine. So he's looking to get in here and make a statement and possibly be the next opponent against Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. And he is going to.
They're not fighting Cotto.
No. Then we know that fight's going to be Cotto Canelo. And we have N'Dam, who had a really good showing. If you've seen that fight versus Peter Quillen.
Oh yeah.
And he ended up beating Curtis Stevens.
Yes.
He is a consummate boxer. He's going to use the ring. He's going to pump that jab. And he's going to make it very difficult for you. And we know he has great will because he was knocked down 6 times versus Quillen.
Yes.
And got up every time and pretty much won whatever round that he did not get knocked out in.
Yeah.
Knocked down in. So I'm looking for him to utilize the whole ring against the come forward David Lemieux, who is pressure, throwing bombs, and more bombs,
and some more bombs.
Exactly. Barrel-chested guy, very stocky, but very powerful. Not a really long reach, but it adds to his power, and yeah, it's like really strong legs.
It's very devastating left hook.
Yes, so N'Dam is really going to have to use his movement to make it tough for Lemieux to catch him.
Yeah, he's also going to have to wear Lemieux out. One of the problems that Lemieux had in both the losses to Rubio and Alcine were that he ran out of gas. I think he's been late rounds since then. He has. But he hasn't been in there with somebody that's really going to test him like N'Dam will. Because, like Rob said, if he gets knocked down, you don't finish him, which is very hard to do, ask Peter Quillen. He's going to get up and he's going to get back to work. Now it's up to Lemieux to, if he puts him down, he has to finish him. And I think he does have the power to do it. I think he might be a better puncher than Quillen. So he might be able to get him out of there. The only thing is he isn't as fleet of foot. His footwork isn't as good as Quillen's. His reach isn't as good as well. So in order for him to, he's going to have to get in there, whereas Quillen could snipe him from the outside.
So he is going to have to cut off the ring versus N'Dam.
And now that we've done the technical toolbox on how to cut off the ring, you can actually watch to see if he can do it correctly and efficiently. Because he can't, once he gets N'Dam on the ropes, just throw wild punches, because N'Dam's going to be out of there. So he's going to have to set up that power. He's going to have to catch him coming in, probably punch with N'Dam in order to catch him in the first place. And I think I'm going to go with Indom. I think he's going to make it. I think he's going to be able to outbox him effectively and stay away from being knocked down and out and win a very tight decision. Maybe one of the judges is looking at something else and decides to score for Lemieux, even though it's like a clear Indom win. I think that's how it's going to happen.
Now, I see Lemieux, he's going to be the one bringing the pressure. I think he's going to win the rounds early and put Indom in trouble. But because we know of Indom's resiliency and the fact that he is a great boxer, I can see him around the 5th round really start to take control and start making Lemieux miss quite a bit.
Yeah. So that's how we think that one's going to go. Let's move on to the next one where we have Sean Porter, Adrian Broner, kind of meeting at the middle. We've got Broner, who's been fighting at 140 for a while since his loss to Marcos Maidana, in which he realized that he was not quite ready for welterweight. We have Sean Porter, who is while a short guy, is a really big guy, very stocky. He's fought as high as 160, I believe. I think he did come all the way down to 140, then move back up to 47. And that's where he's found his home.
And I think in amateurs he fought at what, 165?
Yeah, that's the amateur middleweight, well, super middleweight. So, like we said, he's a big guy. They're meeting in the middle at 144, and I'm really not sure who that benefits, because Porter can probably make that weight pretty easily, and of course so can Broner, as long as he, is disciplined, which it seems that he has picked up a little bit more of those disciplined habits recently.
Especially being in DC training with headbangers and being in the gym, in the same gym as Barry Hunter
and the Peterson brothers, and also he trained in Vegas for this fight in the Mayweather gym, so he was around Mayweather quite a bit. So hopefully it rubbed off on him in a positive way. And really, this one is going to be, I think it's going to be a physical battle. It's going to determine who, like Broner's going to have to use his feet. He's not going to be able to just sit there in the pocket and let Sean Porter hit him, because it's going to be a very long night for him. Sean Porter will muscle him around, beat him up, and possibly stop him. But if Broner can use his feet, catch him coming in, sort of like Kell Brook did. Unfortunately, he's not as physically strong or as big as Kell Brook, so it might not have the same effect. And once Sean Porter actually did get in, Kell Brook was able to outmuscle him there too. I don't think Adrian Broner is going to be able to do that. So he's going to have to fight a similar fight that he did against John Molina. Unfortunately, Porter's a little bit better than John Molina. So I think we get a pretty good contest here. What do you think?
It's going to be very close, because whatever one guy excels at, the other one kind of lacks at. With, I think, the speed advantage, I think the crisper punches are going to go to Broner.
Yeah.
But Sean Porter's going to be able to work. He's going to be able to stay on his toes. And I think footwork and foot speed, or let's not say speed, he's more explosive, because he will, at a moment's notice, will lunge in into Broner's wheelhouse. And we've seen, if you watch the Maidana fight, that overhand right coming in can hit its mark.
Yeah, a lot of people laying that overhand right on Broner. In fact, a lot of people laying a lot of things on Broner. His defense leaves a lot to be desired, let's put it like that.
But Porter isn't the cleanest puncher either.
No, he's not. It looked like he had cleaned that up with the Malignaggi win. That turned out to not be the case, because in the Kell Brook fight and in the Eric Bonet fight immediately after that, he kind of reverted back to those old ways that didn't really have me too high on him. Hopefully he can clean that stuff up. Like, he does a lot of cupping punches, a lot of mauling, a lot of unnecessary movement sometimes. But it's been effective. So if he can just tighten those punches up a little bit and land on Broner cleanly, he could get him in trouble. Because like I said, he's a very, very strong guy, and he does have power.
And this is one of those fights that Broner's not going to be able to engage in his usual antics.
Right. Because Sean Porter will not be having any of that. As far as a decision, I'm not sure on how this one's going to go. Like I said, it's a lot of factors at play for this one. There's a lot of things to look at, more so than just who's landing the punches, how they're setting it up and stuff like that. So this one, if you're looking for a whole lot of things, could be very good. It could also turn out to be very, very bad if there's a lot of clinching, which can happen if Broner is not as mobile as he needs to be. If he lets Sean Porter just get in there and just start mauling him, and Porter's not working, and he can just tie him up, it may slow that fight down greatly.
I think we may get a few answers at the weigh-in to see how Broner and Porter look for the catch weight. Will Broner come in as out of shape or fat Broner? Because he does put on a lot of weight in between fights, a lot of unnecessary weight.
Yeah.
And then we have Porter. Will he be drained? Because it's harder to take off muscle than it is fat.
Right. So there's a lot of factors in this one. So hopefully we get a good fight. It also has a good undercard on there with Errol Spence fighting Robert Garcia. So check that out as well. Let's move on to the final fight on Saturday night, where we have Andre Ward making his Rock Nation Sports debut against Paul Smith at a weight of 172. Now with this one, Andre Ward has been out of the ring for how many months now? It was November 2013, right?
November, December, so you're looking at about 18 months maybe?
Yeah, so he's been out of the ring for almost 2 years. He is the super middleweight champ. Honestly, I don't know how he kept that title, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But he's the super middleweight champ, but he's been out so long, he's going to test the limits to see if light heavyweight feels good to him. So they're meeting at 172, not quite light heavyweight, way above super middleweight, just to get the feel on how he feels. Now, with Paul Smith, we have a guy who just went 24 rounds with Arthur Abraham, 24 competitive rounds with Arthur Abraham. And in that fight, he showed good hand speed, he showed good combinations, he showed some decent footwork, he showed a little bit of accuracy, but he also showed a slightly depleted gas tank. So look for Ward, if he's not rusty, to kind of amp it up as the fight goes on. Hopefully he goes for a stoppage, but Ward isn't one of those guys that takes his foot off the gas either. Like he continues to try to win all the way through a fight.
Yeah.
And not like as you saw with Lara last week, where he was firmly in control and never really ever tried to stop his opponent. Ward does attempt to, even though he's been fighting some tough hombres over the last few years who have been difficult to stop. He had one stoppage before the Super 6, one immediately after. So his resume is very good, and he has a lot of options in either weight class that he goes to. So really, he kind of is in a win-win situation almost. I expect Smith to give him a little trouble early because of that hand speed, because of the physicality that he has, and because Ward hasn't been in the ring in almost 2 years. I mean, I'm sure he's been training, but to actually get in there, he's not had that actual fight experience that he's going to get come Saturday night. So give him a few rounds, see how he looks, and then he'll begin to amp it up, and he'll probably win a 8-4, 9-3 type decision. Maybe drop Smith once, but Smith stood up to Arthur Abraham. So the guy's tough. He's got a chin, and I don't think we'll stop him. He's going to try, but I don't think he'll be successful in doing so.
Unless he just comes back and tries to make a point and definitely go for a definitive stoppage.
Yeah, it would be impressive if he does. But like I said, I don't believe it will happen. But I do think he's going to win a pretty commanding decision.
I think so too.
All right, so like we said, he's got a plethora of options afterwards, which we'll talk about in the post-fight video. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure you like it. Share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. You can follow us on Facebook, CapitalofCombat, Google+, same name. You can hit us up on our email, capitalofcombat@gmail.com. If you guys have anything you want to add, leave it below. Make sure you check out the latest episodes of the Technical Toolbox. We just dropped those. If you guys have any questions, hit us up. We'll put you in the combat mailbag. We also released one of those recently. So stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.